Everyone remembers Michael Jordan as a champion, but almost nobody remembers the exact season he became unbeatable. There was one year, one transformation, when Jordan stopped being a superstar and turned into something the NBA had never seen before. A version of MJ who didn't smile, didn't negotiate, and didn't forgive. A version built from humiliation, exhaustion, revenge, and an obsession so intense that even his own teammates said they were scared of him. This was the season Jordan stopped trying to be the best player in the league and decided he would become the perfect basketball machine, physically, mentally, and psychologically. The season the league realized, you can guard talent, but you cannot guard this. Today, we're diving into the only season in basketball history where players, coaches, and analysts all agreed on one thing: Michael Jordan was not human anymore. But before we start, quick reminder, if you're enjoying the Prime series so far, hit subscribe. It helps me keep this franchise going so you get every episode the second it drops. All right, let's break down the unstoppable season. When the 1990 NBA offseason began, Michael Jordan wasn't thinking about championships. He wasn't thinking about awards, legacy, or GOAT conversations. He was thinking about pain. 2 straight years of humiliation at the hands of the Detroit Pistons had pushed him to a place no other superstar had ever gone. The league didn't just beat him, it physically broke him. The Jordan rules weren't a defensive strategy. They were a form of punishment. Every time he drove to the basket, Detroit sent bodies at him like he was the single threat to their existence. Clotheslines, elbows, tackles, throws to the ground. Most players would have changed their style. Most players would have backed off. Michael Jordan went the opposite direction. He decided he would build a version of himself that could never be broken again. That summer, he didn't go on vacation. He practically lived in the weight room. Teammates would walk in at 6 a.m. and see him already sweating, finishing one workout and starting another. He lifted heavier, longer, and more intentionally than ever before. His shoulders expanded. His chest hardened. His arms looked like they were carved out of steel. He wasn't bulking, he was transforming. By training camp, Jordan didn't just look different. He moved different. He wasn't floating anymore. He was attacking. He wasn't avoiding contact. He was creating it. And the league felt it immediately. That first month of the 1990-91 season, every defender realized the same terrifying thing. The old Jordan could score on you. This Jordan could go through you. He still had the hang time, the mid-air body control, the impossible finesse around the rim. But now he could also take a hit from a power forward and finish like it was nothing. His drives were sharper. His first step was quicker. His fadeaway was cleaner. The Pistons wanted him to adjust to them. Instead, he evolved into something beyond anything the league had prepared for. But it wasn't just the physical transformation. That season, his mindset changed too. For years, Jordan carried the Bulls by himself. He took every shot, every responsibility, every burden. But in 1991, he made the one adjustment that completed his transformation from superstar to unstoppable force. He learned how to trust, selectively but completely. Phil Jackson challenged him to play inside the triangle. Jordan resisted at first. He didn't want to surrender control. But when the Pistons beat him again, something clicked. He realized he didn't need to do everything. He just needed to make the team unpredictable. So he adjusted. He attacked when the defense relaxed. He passed when they collapsed. He manipulated games like chess matches, forcing opponents to choose between guarding the deadliest score alive or leaving someone else open. Teams had no answer. If you sent help, he hit Paxson or Grant for easy shots. If you played him one-on-one, he destroyed you. If you fouled him, he finished anyway. Jordan had always been great, but this version, the 1991 version, was something new. He had the athletic dominance of his early years, the polished skill of his scoring titles, and now, the physical power and psychological restraint of a complete, fully realized predator. Opponents later admitted that game planning for the Bulls became pointless. The Pistons' legendary Jordan rules didn't work anymore. The double teams didn't matter. The traps didn't matter. And the physicality only made him more violent in his attacks, and the numbers reflected the transformation. Over that season, Jordan shot nearly 54% from the field, unheard of for a guard who took so many tough shots. He averaged 31 points, played elite defense, and ran the Bulls' offense with terrifying efficiency. But the numbers don't tell the full story. The league wasn't just losing to him, they were submitting to him. Night after night, players walked off the court shaking their heads, saying some version of, "There's nothing you can do. He's perfect now." The Bulls became a machine built around a machine. Every possession felt inevitable. Every game felt like a countdown until Jordan broke your back. And as the playoffs approached, the NBA quietly realized the truth they had been ignoring for years. Michael Jordan wasn't chasing the crown anymore. He was coming to take revenge on the entire league, starting with the team that tried to break him. And that's where this story gets even crazier. By the time the playoffs began, Michael Jordan wasn't just playing basketball, he was hunting. Every series felt like he was settling a personal debt. The first-round opponents underestimated the Bulls. They thought Jordan's new team-first style meant he'd softened, that he wasn't going to attack them the same way he used to. But that illusion evaporated within minutes. From the opening tip, Jordan played like the entire season had been a warm-up. He was stronger, faster, and infinitely more calculated. He didn't force shots. He didn't rush plays. Instead, he dismantled you like a surgeon with a vendetta. Teams would spend an entire timeout planning how to stop him, and he'd walk out of the huddle, take the ball, and casually do the exact thing they spent 2 minutes preparing for, just to show them that he could. The league had never seen a player this efficient. Every drive had a purpose. Every fadeaway felt premeditated. Every defensive possession was an ambush. And yet, despite all this dominance, everyone knew what the real showdown would be. The moment Jordan had been waiting for since 1988. The moment Detroit had tried again and again to stop from happening. The Chicago Bulls were marching toward the Detroit Pistons, the two-time defending champions, the architects of the Jordan rules, the villains of his origin story. But this time, the feeling was different. For 3 straight years, the Pistons walked into every matchup with absolute confidence. But in 1991, something was off. They weren't smiling. They weren't talking trash. They weren't pounding their chests. They were nervous. Because even they knew the player they used to bully didn't exist anymore. This wasn't the skinny kid with all the hang time in the world. This wasn't the one-man show who tried to beat 5 defenders at once. This Jordan was built to withstand everything the Pistons stood for. The moment the series started, it was obvious. Whenever Detroit tried to hit him, Jordan absorbed the contact and finished anyway. Whenever they collapsed on him in the lane, he kicked it out for an open jumper. Whenever they tried to push his buttons, he didn't react. He just stared at them with a cold, expressionless look that said, "You're already done." This wasn't basketball. This was an exorcism. The Bulls didn't just beat the Pistons, they broke them. Game after game, Chicago dismantled Detroit mentally and physically. Laimbeer lost his temper. Rodman looked overwhelmed. Isaiah Thomas was getting trapped, doubled, stripped, and suffocated. The team that prided itself on psychological warfare was now facing a man who had outgrown all of their weapons. Jordan's scoring wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was inevitable. Every time he rose for a jumper, the Pistons knew it was going in. Every time he drove to the basket, they knew they couldn't stop him. Every time he set up Scottie or Paxson or Grant, they knew the system had outsmarted them. The Pistons weren't losing a basketball series, they were watching their entire era collapse in real time. And then, the moment that defined everything. When the Bulls finally swept Detroit, 4 straight games, the Pistons walked off the court early. No handshake, no congratulations, no respect. They left while time was still on the clock. But Jordan didn't chase them. He didn't yell. He didn't celebrate. He just stood there, hands on his hips, staring at the players who had tormented him for years as they left the court like defeated villains. Everyone watching understood. This wasn't just a victory. This was a transformation. The player Detroit tried to break became the player they could never beat again. And when that series ended, every team left in the playoffs felt the same chill. If the Pistons couldn't slow down this version of Michael Jordan, no one could. The road to the finals wasn't a test. It was a coronation. Jordan dispatched opponents like they were obstacles placed in his way to sharpen the inevitable. His footwork got tighter, his fadeaway more punishing, his defense more suffocating. He was scoring at will while playing some of the greatest team basketball anyone had ever seen. By the time he reached the NBA Finals, Jordan wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. He was preparing to take the league for himself. And once the finals began, the world finally saw the version of Michael Jordan that players still talk about in scared whispers. The version that made defenders look helpless. The version that turned basketball into spectacle. The version that didn't just win, he annihilated. And that moment, that iconic moment in the finals, is where everything changed forever. Because what happened next wasn't just a highlight, it was the beginning of a dynasty. By the way, if you're still here watching, you're exactly the type of person I make these videos for. So go ahead and subscribe. That way, every time I drop a new Prime Jordan episode, it actually shows up in your feed instead of getting buried. The moment the world realized he could not be stopped. The NBA Finals weren't supposed to be easy. The Lakers still had Magic Johnson, the face of the league, the orchestrator of Showtime, the man Michael Jordan had idolized as a rookie. But from the moment the ball went up, you could feel the shift. The air was heavy, the tension insane. The arena split between nostalgia for the old king and fear of the new one. Jordan came out aggressive, not angry, focused, not wild, surgical. Every step looked intentional. Every drive had purpose. This wasn't the high-flying kid from the 80s anymore. This was the fully evolved weapon. And then, it happened. The play that defined prime Michael Jordan more than anything he ever did. Midway through the game, Jordan blew past his defender, elevated toward the rim, cocked the ball back for a trademark highlight dunk. But midair, something changed. Magic rotated over. The Lakers' big man stepped in. Bodies crowded the lane. Most players would have come down. Most players would have been blocked. Most players would have panicked. Jordan hung there, frozen in time. Suspended in a moment the rest of us couldn't comprehend. And instead of forcing the dunk, instead of risking the block, he switched hands midair, almost casually, and laid the ball in on the other side of the rim. A whole arena gasped. Magic Johnson threw his hands up and laughed in disbelief. Commentators lost their minds. And the cameras caught Jordan gliding back on defense with the calmest face you've ever seen, like he didn't just rewrite physics on national television. But here's the thing. Nobody talks about. That layup wasn't a highlight. It was a message to every superstar of that era. I can beat you, and I can beat the game itself. From that moment forward, the finals weren't a competition anymore. They were a declaration. Jordan dominated every facet of the game, scoring, passing, defending, controlling momentum like he had the remote in his hand. Magic played brilliantly, but even he admitted after the series, "We just saw the best basketball player ever." When the final buzzer sounded, Jordan dropped to his knees holding the trophy, overwhelmed, not because of relief, but because the world had finally seen what he always knew he could become. That night, everyone realized this was no longer a rising star. This wasn't the league's next great player. This was the new standard, a new peak, a new definition of dominance, a new era that would shape basketball forever. Prime Michael Jordan didn't just win a championship, he claimed the throne, and the rest of the league understood something terrifying. If this is what Prime Jordan looks like now, what happens next? If you watched all the way to this point, you're not a casual fan, you're one of us. So make sure you're subscribed because this Prime series is just getting started, and I've got even crazier Jordan stories coming next. Thanks for watching.